Hello friends, and welcome to another Pick a Something reading with me, Intuitive Rene. On the table here in front of me I have got 3 crystals laid out. These crystals are to help you choose a reading that you need to listen to today, and I've also got the 2 decks that I'm going to be working with for today's reading. So I haven't used the Muse Tarot in a while, and I wanted to use it today because it's a little bit unusual, a little bit fabulously peculiar, and it's a deck that makes you sort of climb out of your comfort zone and sort of look at things in a different perspective, which is something that I feel we need to do today. And then a new oracle. I know you've probably seen this a lot in the last week on my channel because I have got it only fairly recently and I am loving it. So I haven't had enough of it yet, so we're using it again. In today's reading, I'm doing what is termed, or what we can call, an elemental balance reading. Okay, so we're going to look at the different aspects of your physical, emotional, blah blah blah, all of those different elements that we have that make us who we are today, and we're going to sort of look at your relationship with each part of these aspects and to see what you can do to bring yourself back into balance. So it's going to be quite interesting. It's going to be quite unusual and quite different. And like I said, I have the 3 beautiful crystals on the table here. So I'm going to record 3 readings, and all you have to do is pick one. You know, pick 2, pick as many as you like or as few as you like, but at least one, okay? At least one. And to help you, I have got a beautiful piece of malachite. I love my malachite. It is such a beautiful, vibrant green, a nice piece of malachite. Then I have my beautiful, this is a purple Labradorite. Labradorite normally comes in that like bluey green color, but you do get this beautiful purple one. I just love it. And even on the back where it's so raw, you can see the purple coming through. Let me see if I turn it that way. There we go. You can see the purple shimmer coming through. So if this side was polished, this is obviously its natural appearance on this end, but if this was polished, we would get more of this beautiful, look at that, isn't it gorgeous? So purple Labradorite, my favorite. When the light doesn't catch it, it looks quite dull and boring. And then I have a beautiful piece of Moonstone as well. So we've got 3 crystals for you to choose from, and like I say, you can go based on color, you can go based on shape, on size, however you want to do it. This will be reading 1, reading 2, and reading 3 using these 2 decks. And like I said, we're looking at doing an elemental balance. So we're going to look at all the different elements of your body, of your soul, of your human, of your existence, and to see what your relationship is like with them and what needs tweaking and adjusting. So if you open up the description of this video on YouTube, you will find timestamps that will take you straight to Malachite, Labradorite, or Moonstone, to help you navigate the reading easier. So if you open up, it doesn't matter if you're watching on a phone or a tablet or a PC or whatever, just open up the description box and you will find the timestamps to jump straight across to the reading that you're interested in, the reading that you need. So I am going to get started straight away, starting with Malachite. So welcome to those of you who chose Malachite crystal as your reading today. I have got the tarot deck here. This is the Muse Tarot, in case you didn't look at the intro. And yeah, just going to give it a quick little shuffle. I obviously did shuffle before I started recording, but I just want to give it a quick shuffle on camera, and then I'm going to draw out the 5 cards that we need, because we're looking at the 5 different aspects or elements of a human being. And then I will shuffle and draw a single card from the oracle as well. And once all the cards are shuffled and laid out, we will get started with your reading. So I think I'm happy with that shuffle. Let's cut the deck. Okay, so, oops, I was going to, do I want to turn it over? Let's turn them over. Let's turn them over. Make sure that it's all nice and straight. Make sure it's all nice and straight. Oh, we got a bit of glare there. I will adjust that in a second. Just want to make sure they fit, or not really, ever so slightly out. Push these up if I can and fit these in. All right, and then I want to do the oracle. So this is the new oracle that I got quite recently. It's called the Signs of the Times. Loving, loving, loving. So for Malachite readers, what oracle message is coming through in order for us to understand our elemental balance? Okay. Again, happy with the shuffle. Cut the deck there, and we're taking that card off the top. And we've got water, which is very, very interesting. I just want to adjust the lighting. Give me 1 sec. There we go. Told you it'd be 1 sec. Just that one looks a little bit clearer now, at least you can see it. All right, friends, so we have got 5 tarot and we've got an oracle. The oracle is water and it does talk about surrender. So I'm going to bring that into the entire reading for each one of you today. Starting off with our first card here. It is a major arcana card and it is the card of the magician. And this is the card that represents your physical being. So what is happening with your physical at the moment? What is the relationship that you have with your physical body, all right? And the magician is basically saying to you that, you know, there is work to be done. There is work to be done, but it's nothing that can happen externally. It's something that you have to initiate and follow through with on your own. You're in control of your physical being. You know what you need to do, but it's about getting the balance right, okay? Because you don't want to have too much of diet and not enough exercise, or too much of one thing and not enough of another thing, because then we're going to have absolute chaos and mayhem. The magician is talking about getting that recipe right, getting that balance right. Now, remembering this is talking about your physical being, and you know, so it's telling you that there is some work to be done. It's telling you that things could be absolutely perfect, could be absolutely fantastic, but you've got to keep tweaking. You've got to keep adjusting. So keep adjusting your balance, adjusting the work that you're doing and the effort that you're putting into everything, because you are so close to achieving the success and the happiness that you're looking for with regards to your physical being. So don't give up now. And if things go bad, if things you know, suddenly get worse, just understand that, okay, readjust the recipe, readjust the ingredients, readjust what you're putting into it, and you will find that your physical balances out and everything becomes okay. Our next one that we have, this has got to do with your emotional side, and here we've got the 9 of materials. I love this one. Isn't she gorgeous? You know, you can see the happiness on her face. You can see the bliss on her face, if I can put it that way. And, you know, these roses that are sort of leaning or sort of creating a pathway all the way across to the top. And there is a hand, and it looks like the hand is throwing the roses. Not throwing is such a wrong word to use there. Sort of, you know, just letting the roses fall where they need to. And she's completely perfect. She's completely happy in her moment. You saw that expression on her face. So from an emotional point of view, you're actually feeling pretty positive right now. Okay, on an emotional level, you're feeling pretty positive. You're feeling pretty confident, if I can even say as well. And you're feeling like actually everything's okay. There's nothing that's too heavily burdened on you. And if you've got burdens, emotional burdens and worries, you're actually handling it pretty well, okay? So you are emotionally quite strong, emotionally quite confident, and emotionally feeling like you're on top of the world and you can handle anything that is thrown at you, which is great, you know, because like I said, it's not saying that you don't have challenges. It's not saying that you don't have problems, but it's saying that on an emotional level, you're coping, you're handling things really well, and you actually feel as if you're handling things really well, which is really, really good. Our next one that we have, so this is card number 3, and this has got to do with our intellect. Okay, this has got to do with our intelligence and our intellect, and this is such an interesting card because here we've got, it says the 3 of voices, and if you look at this lady, first of all, we have to acknowledge that she's naked, which means that she's vulnerable, which means that she's showing all that there is. There are these eyes watching her, but she's sort of hiding behind a door, and you can see by her body language that she's sort of, you know, feeling very she's trying to protect herself. She's trying to withdraw or retreat into herself, okay? We have these 3 light beams that are coming off her as well. So she's sitting in the shadows when around her is everything and nothing. These eyes are watching her and she's hiding from this. She's trying to avoid and she's trying to stay clear of the danger, if I can call it that, the perceived danger that is coming through with that 3 of voices. Now, when we talk about your intellect here, we're talking about your relationship with your logical self. Now, I am going to say to you, with this card coming up in this position, that even though emotionally you're okay, physically, you're okay. You know what you need to do here. Here you're feeling like you can handle anything. But the truth of the matter is, intellectually, logically, in your mind, you're very hard on yourself. And you keep only focusing on the negative. You keep only focusing on all the things that have gone wrong and all the challenges that you've experienced and the things that have happened and all of the I'm going to call it the worst case scenario situation. Instead of actually finding the courage and the confidence to look out of the shadows and to see that there is a vast expanse of nothingness. But while you're sitting behind that door hiding, the problems and the challenges just get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger as those eyes are. Now, the other thing that I've just noticed in the eyes is the tears. Okay, so we've got the tears happening. So what you're imagining and what you're perceiving as a problem, a challenge, a threat, an issue is actually just your own perceptions, negative perceptions that you're seeing in a negative way. So intellectually, logically, here in your mind, you need to stop the internal banter that you have with yourself. You need to stop saying, oh, you're not good enough, you can't do that, you're not good enough, you're never going to cope, you're never going to manage, you shouldn't even try. All of that negative self-speak, you need to stop that, because that is what's holding you back. Emotionally, you're okay. Physically, there's a little bit of work to do, but you're actually okay. But it's in the mind, it's here that you are being your own worst enemy, where you are being super hard and super judgmental of yourself. Now, at this stage, I want to bring in the surrender card, this water card. So water is representative of emotions. And here we have a vast body of water. And I love how the water is crystal clear. I love how there is no murkiness, there is no dirt, there is no sand, there is none of that. It is crystal clear, crystal clear, crystal clear water. But the key phrase here is surrender. So it's basically saying to you, instead of trying to go against, just go with the flow and see where it takes you, see where it leads you, especially when it comes to your rational, logical thinking mind. When we look at our next one, this is your creative side, okay? And here we've got the High Priestess. I love this because she is incredibly creative. She is a problem solver. She is a truth seeker. The High Priestess is the card that says to you that you have all the answers within your own self, that you don't need to look externally to find validation or to find the answers. But when you look internally, you are being super critical and judgmental of yourself. You're being too hard on yourself. So we need to ease off on that a little bit. But at the same time, with the High Priestess, we need to acknowledge that we have all the answers we seek here within ourselves. And like I said, on a creative level, instead of going externally and asking people for their opinions and their judgments and their expectations, believe in yourself, trust in yourself, and follow that. Be creative in the way that you handle your internal dialogue and your, you know, the solutions that you look for in your life. But you need to surrender to the fact, you need to accept the fact that you are a little bit hard on yourself from a mind point of view. So creatively, you're very good at finding solutions. Creatively, like I think you're probably the kind of person where everybody comes to you with their challenges and their problems, and you're the kind of person who just finds it so easy to resolve them, to overcome them, and to find answers and solutions. So now it's time for you to do that for yourself. It's time for you to allow yourself internally to resolve the challenges and the conflicts that you are experiencing. So our last tarot card before we sum it all up. So this is about the spiritual, okay? And here we have the 8 of emotions. So we have what to me looks like an eclipse taking place, and we have this lady walking on the sand dunes. There seems to be this like vibration in the air as this eclipse is taking place. Now, this is your relationship with spirit, okay? This is your relationship with your higher self, with your spirit. And it's almost saying like you've been neglecting yourself. You've been hiding and, you know, thinking, okay, it's not there. I can't see it, therefore it's not there. Because what is an eclipse? An eclipse is an optical illusion that makes the sun hide, makes the sun disappear, makes the moon disappear, whatever it may be. It is just an optical illusion because, in fact, the sun or the moon, whatever it is eclipsing, doesn't actually ever disappear. So I think what this is saying to you here as well is that from a spiritual point of view, you have tended to walk away from your spirituality instead of embracing it, instead of accepting it, instead of, you know, just trusting it to be what it is. You're sort of ignoring it. I can't see you, therefore you're not real, and therefore I'm not giving you any attention. And again, I'm going to bring the surrender card into it here because, friends, this is saying to you that, you know, you need to acknowledge, first of all, be open and honest with yourself and acknowledge your spirituality. And even though you might not have a label that fits you or a label that feels right or a place like that, understand that spirituality exists within your soul, within your heart, within your mind, within your physical, emotional, mental, what was this one? Creative self, okay? And you cannot ignore it. You cannot go through life without having that hole filled in your life. So you've got to pay a bit of attention to what it is that you believe in, and whatever it is that you believe in, whatever it is that you believe in is correct for you. So don't cut yourself, beat yourself up about it. Don't be hard on yourself. Don't be too critical and judgmental of yourself. Rather just say, you know what, because I can see here that you're focusing, your whole life has been about the physical and the emotional, because you believe that those are the two things that matter most, because they're the two that are easiest to manage and the easiest to control. So when it comes to our intellect, to the way we think, we tend to be super hard on ourselves, and we tend to not always allow our creativity out. We often tend to very good at solving problems for other people, but not very good at solving for yourself. And when it comes to your spirituality, it's like, you know, it's there, but you're choosing to ignore it. You're choosing not to face it. You're choosing not to deal with it. And I do think it is so important, friends, that you do surrender to all of this, to absolutely don't put all your energy just into one or two aspects of yourself, but you need to try and find balance in all areas. So the water is representative of emotions. It is representative of depth. Okay, because generally water is deep. The fact that this water is crystal clear and beautiful blue and sparkling tells you that everything's good, everything's positive, but it is important that you surrender to the aspects of life that aren't really working for you right now. Surrender to those, pay them attention, pay them a bit of energy, and you know what, I think you'd be really good. Okay, so physically, you know what you need to do. There is a little bit of work to do, but you're actually okay. Emotionally, you're actually feeling great. You're feeling on top of the world. You're feeling fabulous. Intellectually, you are being a bit hard on yourself. Creatively, you're so good at dealing with everybody else's, not so good at dealing with your own. And on a spiritual level, this is where the work needs to come in. So let's surrender, let's open, let's acknowledge, and let's work with that which we have, and create a version of yourself from a spiritual point of view that actually feels right for you. It doesn't mean that you have to fit into an existing system. Okay, create a system for yourself, as long as it is something that feels right to you, and as long as it is a way of you acknowledging your own spirituality. If you keep doing that, you're doing absolutely fine. So friends, I do hope that you enjoyed your reading. I do hope that this resonates with you, and I do hope it gives you a little bit of food for thought to make some adjustments to your life right now. Take care of yourself, be kind to yourself, and as always, with love and blessings from my heart to yours. And until we connect again, take care. Welcome to those of you who chose the purple Labradorite as the crystal reading message for you today. I have the tarot in my hands, and this is the Muse Tarot, just in case you forgot or you didn't watch the intro. The Muse Tarot, and I'm going to give it just a quick little shuffle and then I'm going to draw the cards that we need for the reading. So from this particular deck, I need 5 cards for the reading, and we are doing the reading on our elements, the elements that make up a human being, a soul, an energy, and to see the elements and whether they're in balance or not. So we're going to be looking at your physical, we're going to be looking at your emotional, we're going to look at your intellectual, your creative side, as well as your spiritual self. And we're going to look at what your relationship is like with each of these parts of yourself. And there goes Rene with the bad shuffling. Let's give the cards just a last little shuffle, and then I will cut the deck and draw the cards. I've also got the oracle that we're going to be using just off the side here, and I'm going to draw a card from that one as well before we actually start with the reading. So let's cut the deck and let's lay out our cards. Oh, the colors are gorgeous. I hope I'm going to have enough space, because that crystal is bigger than my other ones when I thought I had planned everything. No, there we go, it looks like it fits. There's a little bit of glare there, I do apologize, bear with me on that. I will pick the card up and show it to you. Right, so there we have our cards, and now let's have a look at the oracle. Give it just a brief shuffle, because I did shuffle before I started. Just a brief shuffle of this one. We're looking for just a single card. Whoopsie, apparently that's it. That one went flying in such a way that I knew it wasn't just my bad shuffling. It was telling you, pick me, pick me, pick me. And this one is mirror and reflection. So I will bring that into the readings. Let's do that. All right. So purple Labradorite, we are starting off with card number 1, which is the card that represents your relationship with your physical being. And here we have the card of the devil. Can you see that down the bottom here? All right. It is the card of the devil. Gosh, my camera goes so dark. Let me see if I can adjust the lighting. Give me 1 second. Hopefully that's a bit better. All right, so we've got the card of the devil to represent the relationship that you have with your physical self. Now, the message that I get from that for you is that you tend to do things to the extreme. So when it comes to taking care of your physical body, whether it comes to your nutrition, your exercise, anything to do with your physical body, you tend to do things to the extreme. You tend to like really hone in on one thing and sort of absorb that and hold on to that and let that be your driving force. Almost to the point of excess, okay? So it's like there isn't really a comfortable balance. It's like we either do too much or we do absolutely none at all. So it's about the opposite extremes, and this seems to be the way that you are handling your physical being. Now, it's interesting that we've got the mirror ball here, and the mirror ball with the message of reflection, because it's saying to you that, the way that you are treating, the way that you are handling your physical being is a reflection on what's going on in your life. So if there's a little bit of chaos in your life, you will probably be more focused, more determined, and more honed in on one thing, on exercise or on diet or on junk food or on whatever it may be, okay? So when things are not going well in your life, you tend to obsess and fixate, those are the words that I need to use, on certain things with regards to your physical being. So this is Spirit saying to you that at the moment, the way that your life is, the way that you're treating yourself, and the way that you're handling things, you're not getting a good balance in your life. It's not a consistent balance. Let me use that phrase. It's not a consistent balance in the way that you are responding and behaving and treating your physical body. Then when it comes to your emotional self, here we have the 7 of emotions. Here we have the 7 of emotions. And if we look at this young lady on the card, so she looks like she's very thoughtful. She looks like she's very, like, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? What am I going to do? It's almost like she's a little bit uncertain of herself, okay? And in front of her here, so she is immersed in the water, all right? And in front of her here, we have all these different kind of goldfish. Some of them have got some green on them. Some of them have got a shark fin on them. This one over here has even got, I don't know if it's going to see, the camera might go dark. It's even got a little black bandana across its eyes. So it's all these different goldfish that are there. And she's looking at them as if she's like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. So there's a lot of indecisiveness. So around your emotions, there's a lot of indecisiveness. There's a lot of insecurities that you feel. So sometimes you feel like your emotions are not quite relevant, not quite accurate, but then you don't quite know how to handle it and what you should do. And so there's a lot of reservation and apprehension around your emotional self. So, and it seems to be, again, one of these all or nothing kind of scenarios. So this is the card of choices and options. This is the card of saying, like, it's like saying to yourself that you don't quite know where you should be going or what you should be doing, and you're feeling quite overwhelmed and feeling quite like, I don't know what to do, I don't know what to do. But it's also about the fear of making a wrong choice. And I can see, again, when it comes to the physical, that, when you're feeling overwhelmed, when you're feeling a little bit stressed, when you're feeling like life is all just a little bit too much, there is this tendency to do more than is absolutely necessary. So with regards to your physical and your emotional, I think it's important that, again, we try and bring things back into balance, because we do have a tendency for extremes. Okay, I hope that makes sense to you. So here, our next card. And now this card is dealing with your intellectual. This has got to do with your mind. This has got to do with the thoughts and the way that you think, and almost, if I can call it, the logic aspect of yourself. And here we've got the 5 of materials. Now here we have a lady who is lying out on a bench, it looks like. She has covered herself in a sheet, and she's sort of just almost in a fetus position, okay? And we go into that position when we are defensive, when we are concerned and worried, nervous, etc. 5 of materials is the card that says that sometimes you feel like you're completely excluded. Now, considering this card has come in with regards to your intellect, your thinking, your rational, your logic self, the way that you respond to your logic self, I do think that the message that's coming there is that you often feel as if you are excluded. You often feel as if you are not part of what everybody else is doing and what everybody else is saying, what everybody else is happening. You often feel like you just don't fit in. You feel like you don't quite blend well with others. So because of that, you tend to keep yourself apart, tend to keep yourself away from everybody else on an intellectual, logical mindset point of view. And again, it's about the extremes, okay? So this is the interesting thing that's coming through here for each one of you is physically we've got these extremes. We're either doing too much or we're not doing anything. Emotionally, we get overwhelmed with choices and options, and fear drives us. So we're too afraid of what happens if I make the wrong mistake. So that, what happens if I make the wrong choice? And therefore we often end up not making a choice. And now when it comes to the way that you think and the way that you perceive and the way that you imagine life, you're also thinking like, oh, I'm just not going to fit in. So if I'm not going to fit in, I might as well not even try. So again, we've got those extremes coming through. And just to bring the mirror in, just to bring the reflection, this is again Spirit saying to you, when you acknowledge how you're feeling, when you acknowledge that when life is difficult, we tend to go to the wrong extremes instead of finding that balance and working through that balance and remaining consistent. So the reflection is basically saying to you that when you notice what's going on in your life, notice how you are reacting and how you are responding, because your response, your reactions is a reflection of what you're feeling, what you're experiencing, and the things that are happening in your life. And when you become more aware of it, you're going to be better able to manage that and to bring balance into your life. So now our next one that we have, and this is an interesting one, we have got the Two of Voices. So this artwork is just so amazing, isn't it? Just so amazing. I love how we've got this, I'm going to call it this body holding up these two heads, and there's another head over there, and then there's the hands. It's almost like it's split down the middle. She is all of this white, and then you've got this other person walking towards. So there's so much going on here, and it truly is quite fabulous. Now, this is the card of your creativity. And when we talk about your creativity, we're talking about the way that you handle things, the way that you overcome things, the way that you work through things, okay? And the Two of Voices is the card that says that you don't like to face or admit or to acknowledge the challenges that you have in life. You would rather look away and pretend it's not there in the hopes that it figures itself out, or the hopes that it goes away on its own. But of course it's not going to do that. It needs you to navigate it. It needs you to drive it. It needs you to push it. It needs you to work it. So the Two of Voices here with regards to your creativity is basically saying to you that you tend to, instead of diving in and handling things, you tend to go to the extremes, but you tend to ignore the problem until it becomes such a major issue, and then there's then everything is again to an extreme. Instead of seeing the challenge right at the beginning, realizing the strength and the power that you have, and start working on it so that it doesn't become a challenge for you, so it doesn't become a situation. And then we have, and this one, to me, it's actually quite interesting that you've got this card. So this is the one that's got to do with your spirituality, and it's got to do with your connection with your higher self. And here we have the Wheel of Fortune. So the Wheel of Fortune it's the wheel of karma. It's also the card that says sometimes we can't control the outcomes, and sometimes things just are the way that they are. And sometimes we just have to accept that things are the way that they are. So the interpretation for you here is that, physically we find things a little bit difficult, and we tend to do things to one extreme or the other. Emotionally, we get overwhelmed when there's too many choices and options because we're afraid of what happens if we choose the wrong thing. So that puts us into a spiral of, I'm not going to make a decision. We do feel on an intellectual, a logical point of view that we don't blend in, we don't fit in, we don't deserve to be there, we don't fit in there, so we're just not going to engage, and we tend to withdraw, we tend to keep ourselves separate from everybody else. And from a creative point of view, it's like, no, I can't deal with that now, I don't want to deal with that now, and we tend to put things off. But spiritually, it's like the complete opposite of these four, because spiritually, you're actually quite connected, you're quite in tune with your own spirituality, and you've got a lot of trust, you've got a lot of belief, and you just know that everything's going to be okay. So you tend to not really truly engage in all these other aspects of your life, but when it comes to your spirituality, you're just like, I know everything's going to be okay, I have faith, I have belief, and I trust. But you don't have that in all these other physical aspects of yourself. And I do think this is a good reflection for you to reflect on, okay? So Spirit are basically saying, if you could have this energy, if you could have this mindset, this outlook, this energy around your physical, emotional, mental, and your creative sides, if you could adopt that same kind of energy, I think your life would be just a glittering mirror of awesomeness, of amazingness. But at the moment, we're tending to be a little bit dull and boring because we're just choosing to either do one or the other or not at all. So there is a lot of balance that is needed in your lives. There is a lot of area where you need to put a bit of attention, put a bit of focus. And if you use your spirituality as an example, and so spend a bit of time thinking about that. Like, what are your feelings? What are your belief systems? What are the way that you perceive and imagine life? And then say, am I that way in my physical, my emotional, etc.? And I think you will see exactly, and you will understand exactly what this message is for you today. So friends, I hope you've enjoyed this, and I hope it makes sense to you, and I hope it gives you just the information, the guidance, the nudge, the push, the shove that you need to bring balance into all these other areas of your life so that you can be a satisfied, happy, whole human being. And as always, with love and blessings from my heart to yours. And until we connect again, take care. Hello and welcome to those of you who chose the Moonstone for your reading today. Welcome. I have the tarot deck in my hands, and this is the Muse Tarot. I'm going to give it just a little shuffle. I did shuffle before I started recording. Just give it a little shuffle, and I'm going to lay out all the cards that we need, and then I want to take out a single card from the Oracle deck, which I have just off the side here. Lay out all the cards, and then we will get started with your reading. So today we're focusing on the different aspects of your soul, of your human energy, the different aspects of your elements, the elements that make up who you are. And we want to have a look and see how balanced or unbalanced they are, and where you need to be focusing your attention to bring balance into your life. Okay, so the Muse Tarot, we're asking for 5 cards from the Muse Tarot to identify. I'm getting all my words wrong. We're looking for 5 cards from the Muse Tarot, 5 cards, each one depicting a different area or different element of our lives, so that we can get a good read on the balance that we do or don't have in our space at the moment. Right, last one, just one more. I say that and then I'll do another 2, but that's okay. Right, I am done with the shuffling. Put the cards back together. Let's cut the deck. And let's lay out the 5 cards that we need. Oh, I love the colors of this deck. They are so bright, and they are so vibrant, and they are so beautiful. Okay, so laying out, right, that one actually needs to go that way. There is a little bit of glare on that card. I do apologize. Ace of Inspiration, and we have the Awakening. Oh, I love where this is going. And now let's just do the Oracle card quickly. Oopsie. So this is the Signs of the Times Oracle. It is such an awesome, beautiful deck. I am loving this deck at the moment. So I have used it quite a lot recently, and I'm sure you don't mind. All right, let's have a quick little shuffle here. We're looking for a single card from the Signs of the Time Oracle, and then we will get started with the reading. And there we have it. We've got clouds, distractions. Okay, so let's leave clouds, distractions over there. All right, so we've got all our cards laid out. If you're wondering why this one is sideways, just to show you, it is actually a card that is supposed to be sideways. There are 4 of them in this deck, and what it does is it just makes you sort of look at things a little bit different, like, hold a second, what's going on here? So when we get to it, when we get to talk about it, you'll understand exactly what its message is. But we're going to start with this one over here. So we're starting off with the physical. All right, we're starting with the easy stuff. We're starting off with the physical. So we're looking at your relationship that you have with your physical being, and here we have the 9 of Inspiration, and again, aren't these colors just absolutely gorgeous? When I look at this particular card, when I look at this artwork, so we've got this lady, she's clearly walking through the sand dunes, and you can see that she's been, she's walked a long, hard, difficult road. We've got these huge, big mountains. We've got these huge, big gateways that she's had to walk through. There's, and I know it might not be so clear, but there you can see is the road that she's walked. So she's walked a long, hard, and as much as she looks amazing, and as much as she looks like she's absolutely fabulous, like she hasn't even, broken out into a sweat, it's been tough. It's been a struggle for her. Okay, it hasn't been easy, and she's probably, because of the amount of time that she's been walking, and because of what she's been going through, she's probably at this point now where she's feeling like, gosh, is it ever going to end? Is it ever going to end? Is it ever going to end? So she is feeling a little bit anxious. She is feeling a little bit overwhelmed. She is feeling a little bit exhausted, fed up, frustrated, like, it just, you know what it's like when you're on a treadmill, and you're putting all your effort and energy in, but you're actually not going anywhere. That's what she feels like. She just feels as if she's not getting anywhere. And this is now a reflection of your relationship that you have with your physical being. So are you feeling like your body just doesn't respond, doesn't react, doesn't seem to get to where you want it to be? Are you putting in a lot of effort? Are you putting in a lot of attention into your physical being, whether it be with diet and exercise, medication, illness, health, wealth, all of those kind of things? And are you just feeling like you just never seem to break ground? You just never seem to make any movement, never seem to make any progress? Because this is Spirit saying that, it seems to be this never-ending cycle, this never-ending process, and you're just feeling very frustrated because you just don't seem to be accomplishing and achieving anything that you need to, or anything that you want to. The other side of this, okay, the other half of the message that the card brings is that this is not the time to be giving up. This is not the time to be changing your course, not the time to be changing your action or your activity, because you are so close to arriving at your destination. You are so close to accomplishing your goals, your dreams, and your aspirations. But what happens is, as human beings, we tend to be a little bit impatient. We tend to be a little bit, short-sighted, even, if I can put it that way. So what happens is we start on a journey, and we have everything, and the motivation and the enthusiasm and everything there. But as it goes, and as it gets longer and longer, and as we get more and more and more despondent, we eventually just throw our hands up in there and say, I quit, I give up. And sometimes we get to 90% of the way and then we give up, which means we've wasted that 90%, which means we never actually achieve the things that we want or that we need to. So this card is saying to you, on a physical, you may feel as if you're not getting anywhere. You may feel as if it's just a never-ending cycle, process, battle, challenge that you need to overcome. And you may be thinking about changing your course of action. And this card is saying to you, don't. All right? Stay with what you're doing. Whatever you're doing at the moment, even though it doesn't look like you're making progress, you actually have made a lot of progress. But stick with your current regime, stick with your current process. Don't change anything unnecessarily, because it will be a little bit short-sighted if you do. All right. Our next one that we're looking at has got to do with our emotional self. And here we have the page of inspiration. So we have this beautiful black cat sitting here. We've got this lady. She's got another black cat sitting here. She's doing the splits, and this is her hair coming up here. And this is her, I'm going to call it her thoughts, all right? This is the page of inspiration. So you can see she's got movement happening. She's working through things. She's processing things. She's doing whatever she can, whatever she needs to. She's not denying her feelings. She's not ignoring her feelings. She's trying to work through it, but she's also trying to do it fabulously. Nothing wrong with doing things fabulously. Nothing wrong with having all this beautiful hair and, all these kind of things, but she is actively working out. Now, you might not see it very clearly, but just over there behind the cat, in her solar plexus, if I can call it that, she's got this ring of energy, which tells you that all her emotions are sitting in her belly. All her emotions are sitting, in the core of her, but she is doing what she can to work through it. So the message for you there is, on an emotional level, when things come up for you, you are actually trying to process it. I do think the slightly negative of this card is saying that you're sometimes forcing things. You're sometimes pushing emotions a little bit too hard. So, for example, you're probably the kind of person who feels like you always need to be working on some emotional aspect of yourself. So even if you don't have a problem, even if you don't have an issue right now, you will go digging to look for one. You will go searching, and exploring for one. And sometimes we don't need to be that person. Sometimes we can just be okay in ourselves, in our current situations. We don't always need to be looking for a problem to fix or to work on. But on a positive side, I think this card is saying to you that at least when something comes up for you on an emotional level, you're acknowledging it, you're working on it, you're working through it, you're putting in the effort, which is really, really great. But it's like understanding that sometimes no effort is needed. Sometimes we don't need to be working on stuff because everything is just okay. Right. Now for our sideways card. Now this one's got to do with the mind. This has got to do with your mental self. Now here we have the muse of emotions. So if you look at this particular card, this person has been mirrored all right, split down the middle and mirrored, but their worlds are completely different. We've got a sea anemone up there, and there's one down there, but everything about them is exactly equal, exactly the same, but their perspectives and their perceptions are different. The way that they see and the way that they look seem to be different. Now, what I want to say to you with regards to your mental mindset, it's almost like you are this split down the middle person, whereas sometimes you can be completely cool, calm, and collected, and other times you can be completely over the top and a little bit to the extreme. So it's almost like there is this division between you, and when it comes to the way that you respond mentally to situations and circumstances, that sometimes you can be either that way or sometimes you can be that way. There isn't really a happy medium, if I can call it that. And to bring this card into it now, bring our clouds in, which talk about distractions. What I want to say with that to you is that on a mindset, on a mental level, you could be dealing with your emotions, like putting in the effort. And I feel like you tackle your emotions from a very intellectual way. I don't know what word I was looking for there, but you seem to tackle everything very logically, very like, okay, so I'm upset. Why am I upset? And who upset me? And what can I do about it? And how can I feel like you take a very logical kind of approach to everything that's happening to you emotionally. That is the one side of you. But then the other side of you can be a little bit all over the place based on distractions. So you could be the kind of person who really can be fleeting, and we've described as fleeting, described as somebody who can't always pay attention for a very long time because there's always a distraction. There is always something else that needs working on. There's always something else that needs going. And you just feel as if it's continuous, repetitive, ongoing all the time. And you don't know when anything is going to stop or how anything is going to change. So this muse of emotions is basically saying to you that you need to get in control of the way that you imagine, perceive life, your situation and your circumstances. Don't give up before you need to on a physical level, and on emotional level, don't feel like you always have to be working. And isn't it interesting that they are opposites in themselves? And that's why we've got this card split down the middle, but their perspectives and perceptions are completely different. So the work that you need to do on yourself on a logical mental place point is to sort of, try and find a happy medium and not always feel like it's there or there. It's about finding that happy medium and not pushing yourself unnecessarily and expecting unnecessary things from yourself. And don't allow unnecessary distractions to lead you away from where you need to be, where your attention needs to be. Okay. Next we have this Ace of Inspiration. And isn't this card, the colors and everything just gorgeous. Now, this is your card of creativity, the way that you tackle challenges, the way that you handle life's obstacles and situations. And the Ace of Inspiration is saying that you're pretty good at it, okay? You're pretty good at finding creative ways to deal with stuff. You're actually the kind of person who thrives on looking for solutions and, changing situations and improving situations. You're probably somebody who's forever reinventing the wheel, because that is just the way that you are created, which is why it's so easy on a physical level to give up before you've arrived at your goal, because you're immediately seeing, oh, but you know what, I could have done it better this way and I could have done it better that way. And that's, again, it's the distractions, and it's this mental chatter that we have that says, no, this way, this way, this way, this way. So we need to understand that, yes, you are very good at finding solutions. You are very good at finding different ways of doing things, creative ways of doing things. You're really, really good at doing that. But sometimes we have to just accept things the way that they are, and we don't always have to reinvent the wheel over and over and over again. Because from a creative point of view, from a problem-solving point of view, you crave that, you love that, which is why it's so quick. Again, I'm repeating myself. Why it's so quick to pack it in too early before you've actually arrived at your goal. Put yourself back at the beginning and say, right, how else can I do it? Because that seems to be the way that you operate, the way that you navigate life, which is the distractions, isn't it? Absolutely, it's the distractions that you tend to work with. Okay. And our final card here, we have card 20, which is the Awakening. It's a major arcana card. And this is the card of your spirituality. This is the card that talks about your connection to your higher self and your connection to spirit. And we have the awakening, which says that right now you are having many epiphanies. You are having many moments of clarity. You are sort of at a point in your life now where suddenly everything is making sense. And the bigger picture is making sense. Not the bigger picture of what other people are doing, but the bigger picture of what you are doing. Because this whole thing here is about you. It's not about anybody in your life. It's not about anybody's influence on your life. It's literally just about you. So the awakening is saying that you're starting to see the truth. You're starting to recognize the truth. You're starting to be okay with the truth. And you're starting to actually get excited about it. I love how she's got her hand right here. It's almost like on her throat chakra. And the throat chakra is our sense of communication, of expression, the way that we express ourselves and the way that we are heard and the way that we are understood. So awakening here from your spirituality is saying that you're actually, for the first time in a long time, you're actually very comfortable with yourself. You're very comfortable with who you are, with your morals, your traditions, your belief systems, your culture, all of those kind of things, your spirituality. You're actually pretty okay with that. But it's just, to me, these are the areas that need a little bit of attention, a little bit of work. All right, we mustn't quit. Yes, it's good to work on our emotions. It's good to dig deep into our soul to find, ways of improving ourselves, but also sometimes to just accept that, things are okay exactly the way that they are. We don't always have to be working on it, but this is just based on the distractions and the perceptions that you have around you and the way that you're dealing with all of that. And you're constantly feeling like you need to be improving. You need to be working on. Like, I feel like on a mental level, you can be quite tough and quite hard on yourself. And from a creative point of view, you love just reinventing and redoing everything, even if it's not completely necessary. And the awakening is basically saying to you that, you're spiritually, you've got faith, you've got trust, you've got belief, you're in a good space from a spiritual point of view. You're feeling quite comfortable, you're feeling quite okay. And there's this element of understanding of you, of yourself, of your needs, wants, and desires that seems to be coming into play, which is great. So if we can just get our distractions under control, I think you'll find that you're a much happier, well-rounded, and much more grounded human being. So friends, I hope you enjoyed your reading. I hope it makes sense to you. I hope it ticks the boxes that need ticking in your life. Thank you for being with me, as always, with love and blessings from my heart to yours. And until we connect again, take care.